bought one practice to start with that was practice planner ready. Oddly enough, at the time, the regional manager that was managing that practice, I'd known from a previous role. So for us, it was a real bonus to come on board with someone that we already knew. And so it was an easy sell, shall we say. And over the next sort of 3 to 5 years, we bought 2 more practices. One was a Denplan practice, one was a Smart Care Plan practice. And while there's clearly some benefit to having a foot in each camp, because, to be blunt, as a practice owner, you can play off each other and try and put yourself in the most advantageous position. But ultimately, it comes down to relationships. And when the RSM that was looking after us in the first practice moved on, we got the new RSM. Suki, I think he's fantastic. He's a really good lad. He's worked very hard to look after us. And so when we looked at moving over to practice plan or changing plans with the other 2 practices and amalgamating everything, ultimately the decision to put everything under one roof and make the admin significantly easier was an easy one, because of the relationship we had with our RSM and how he looked after us and made our business easy. The monthly fee with Denplan was significantly greater than the practice plan one. I mean, by probably a comfortable 50 to 75%. I mean, it was a big difference. We worked out, I think, when we sat down, it's about £16,000 a year was the difference on the patients that we had, and it was a comparatively small Denplan list. It wasn't a big one. There was only 200 or 300 patients on it, so 16 grand a year is a pretty tidy sum. But the finances were secondary, completely secondary. Both Philip and I, as my partner and my business partner, we work on relationships entirely. And if we get a better relationship and it costs us a bit more, I'm prepared to pay more to have the relationship that works best for us. And the Denplan relationship didn't work for us. More than once, we found ourselves chasing our tail with Denplan. And we had a lovely lady who looked after us, but was ineffective. I don't know. Maybe it was just us, I don't know, because we're a small practice, we don't have a large number of patients. Maybe we're not a high flyer, whatever you want to call it. But we never felt that way with Suki. He always just looked after us. Always, checking in, making sure everything's okay, can he do everything? And when we asked if we could have some help, it was forthcoming, and it was forthcoming quickly. And that was really priority number 1, to the extent that I think when we did finally strike the deal, before we shook on it, I said there's only one small condition, and that's that we keep him as our RSM, even though I think technically, because the 2 practices are in, I call them 2 practices, but it's because we've amalgamated the other 2 into one. They're technically outside of his area, but that was my breaker, shall we say, and it worked, and he still looks after us and does a good job. Everyone I've come across that works for Practice Plan seems to enjoy working for Practice Plan. That's always a good statement. When you see people that have been there for a long time and have fun working with the people that they work with, it's a good company to work with. And I haven't ever hesitated to recommend them to my mates doing what we do.